Hi everybody, I'm Jennifer Freer, and I'm the business librarian here at RIT. It's my job to help students, staff, and faculty navigate the various business resources available to you. I can also offer suggestions on which resources are right for seeking different types of information or for a particular type of project. And I can provide you with training on different databases, and I can also suggest search strategies. I can also offer advice or caution when a particular piece of information may not exist, or when that piece of information might exist, but you won't have access through the RIT library. One way to think of how a librarian helps is they offer expert guidance as you seek information. They can ultimately save you time. So let's get started. Most business classes or subjects taught at RIT will have an accompanying info guide. This is the info guide for your class. A little bit of navigation. Along the left-hand side, you will see tabs or pages to different types of information, sometimes by information type, sometimes by information subject. To the top right, you will see a button that will sometimes be green and sometimes be red. This is your chat email appointment button. You can try to find a librarian on chat, you can get a librarian's email address, or you can make an appointment with a librarian. The appointment schedule will show their availability, and you can book the appointment right through here. To know if you're chatting with a specific librarian, the box will say chat with and then the first name of the librarian. If it says chat with RIT librarian, that means you're speaking to the reference desk, and it could be any subject specialist that is on duty. The info guide will provide you with links and some context to the different databases that are helpful for this particular subject area or class. Each info guide has a similar feel and tends to be a little bit of paragraphs followed by links. The links are important because many of these products are subscription, and the subscriptions are paid for by the library. You need to go through a library link to be authenticated as an authorized user. So use the info guides as a place to start your research when you can't get in immediate touch with a librarian, or as a place to go to when you already know the sources that you need and you know that they are linked on your info guide. Supply chain research presents a few challenges. There isn't one resource to go to get the logistics or supply chain for any one industry or any one company. So you are required to look in multiple places. An industry research product like IBISWorld will have a supply chain map for many industries, but not all. You will have to do news research for companies and industries, and you will have to try to parse out articles that are describing supply chain, but they may not use those words. They may use inventory management or logistics or words that I don't even know describe that particular function within a company. You may need to go to company websites to look to see on the company website, what are they saying about their suppliers or who they supply to? And not every company will be transparent about this. There's some information about suppliers for publicly traded companies buried in SEC filings from the Securities and Exchange Commission. When the supplier is supplying something that reaches a dollar threshold over a certain amount. These are huge contracts. that you might find buried in some of these SEC filings. So you will need to look in multiple places for different types of info, and the availability of info will be extremely uneven. What follows is a walkthrough of some of the resources RIT has access to that may help you in your research. IBIS or IBISWorld is a database that is good to do broad industry research. The product can be searched directly using a keyword, a company name, or a code, or you can browse by choosing the Industry Research tab and then choose the type of report that you're after. We have access to US-specific reports and broad global reports. This product contains both business-to-business industries and business-to-consumer industries. The reports for the broader industries are in industry reports, and then when an industry falls within another industry, it will be a specialized industry report. There are also iExpert summaries, which are shorter reports to help get patrons up to speed quickly on a particular industry. Off to the right, you will also see that there are U.S. business environment profiles. If there's something that you need to investigate around the business environment, such as demographics or prices of commodities, you would go into this section. So let's start by showing how a search might work. So if my company that I am interested in is Netflix, Netflix is involved in streaming video. It is involved in content creation of movies and television shows. And I could start by typing in the word Netflix if I was unsure how this product was classifying them. And I can see here that I'm getting television broadcasting reports, cable providers, cable networks, and these are all aspects of what Netflix does. One of the things that you need to keep in mind is that newer industries sometimes are not represented exactly in here. Then if I thought possibly, well, the other thing that they're up to is video streaming, I could start to use that term. Now notice it's prompting me with video post-production, movie and video production, and that would be related to what Netflix is doing. And then I start to type in streaming, and even if I spell it wrong, video streaming services in the US comes up, and it is what they call a specialized underlying industry report. So I might want to look at the bigger industry of television production, and then also look at the video streaming services. So let's go back to one of the larger reports, television broadcasting in the US. All of the IBISWorld reports are structured in the same way. On the left-hand side, you will have a navigation column. Each chapter will have underlying sections that are opened up with these carets. If you want to just download the report immediately, to the right-hand side of the title of the report, you will find a download button, and you will be able to download the items as PDFs, Word documents, or Excel documents. I highly recommend doing this right away, as you never know in the immediate future if your access to a product will be interrupted. The About section contains information that starts to level you up on this industry. So we get an industry definition, we have a map of supply chain including key external drivers. On the left-hand side we have tiers of suppliers and tiers of buyers. Notice that each one of these buyers or suppliers is also linked to a report within the product. I'm also getting related industry reports. Major players, this is a section that will only include huge corporations. Smaller, important players may not show up here, so use this section with caution. main activities, similar industries, etc. So you can go through the IBIS report and get up to speed on the industry. It will also include a SWOT for you. The SWOT will include a graphic followed by some narrative of understanding the particular SWOT, industry structure, etc. You'll have an industry outlook area, products and markets, competitive landscape. This is most everything that you need to get up to speed on a particular industry, whether it's business to business or business to consumer. Related, you might also want to explore the business environment profiles. So your business environment includes the way consumers are behaving, if it's a consumer product, general demographics, domestic conditions. So let's say my new product was related to cars. I might be interested in exploring their environment report around the price of new cars. I have the same navigation along the left-hand side. I have a download button. I can also see that this is as of January 2021. And I can now start to understand their analysts' discussion of the price of new cars to relate it to my new product. Let's say it was a Netflix integration into cars and streaming services. So let's do some navigating around Mintel. A couple main features. You can see, of course, immediately that they're letting you know of different reports in the database. The one on the cover here is the Gen Z Diner. So that's a mashup of a demographics database with the food service industry. We have here over on the left the field that says I'm looking for. That's your search box where you can search for words in a title or words that occur within inside a database. We have ways to filter, so we could filter by different product categories. Whenever you see an arrow or a caret off to the right, you will then get more underlying areas, and you can see that these are all consumer products. Mintel is a tool that you use for consumer marketing, not business to business marketing. You can also filter by region, but we only buy things for the United States. You can do different trend drivers. This is another way a marketer could try to understand what's going on with people they want to sell to. Something new in Mintel, due to the current coronavirus or COVID situation, they have started to update reports because basically this virus around the world and in the United States has changed almost every single industry. So you can go into the COVID section to read updates. So if we click on COVID, it will tell us post-COVID information. So sometimes it's going to be embedded in the report, like in the television advertising report. Other times, the report itself will have COVID-19 in the title. This is going to help you understand how analysts at Mintel have observed markets have changed, or how they think markets will be changed. You can also see when you're looking at a report, and you know that because on the bottom right-hand side it will say report. If there's a banner on the top left-hand side on that report icon includes COVID impact, you'll know that the report has been updated. Let's do a quick navigation into a report so I can highlight the main features it will have. Let's take a look at this Gen Z Diner report. So we can see as I roll over, read report, you get a quick table of contents, and this is going to be a similar table of contents for almost every report. They have a very nice standardized structure in Mintel. When you get into the report, a couple of the main features. You have your title at the top. Off to the right hand side, you have your author. This will be important for your citation. Paragraph out of the report In the download section here, you do have an official executive summary in PDF format. You have access to the full report, and you have access to what's called the data book. That's extremely important. That is the raw Excel spreadsheet data of the questions that they asked focus groups or mall intercepts to get an idea of how consumers, in this case it's probably Gen Z diners, are reacting to the current situation. If you scroll down a little bit more, the data book is also accessible to you in the form of an interactive data book where you can build charts and graphs. And then the full report, if you want to view it online, is available through this table of contents. Each one of these accordions opens up and has more sections within it. So if you needed to know more about the market size and forecast of a particular product or service, you would open up market, go to market size and forecast, and it will take you to that section. You can see here that the reports are a combination of paragraph narrative along with table, charts, graphs, and data tables. So this table, if I want to see the fuller time series, including forecasts out to 2025, I can open up the table. And this is telling us this table is total U.S. revenues. You will see other tables throughout the report that deal more with the lifestyles. In the case of this table, what is your comfort level of dining? Would you dine outside or inside? And then, of course, we want to watch the date, and the field date on this is July 28th to August 4th, 2020, so that we know for sure that, yes, this is a post-COVID survey. To navigate back to the beginning of the report, simply click on the title of the report. My recommendation for getting this information out is to grab the full report and the data book. This particular URL at the top is what we call permanent. If you were to grab this and email it to yourself, you could get back to this report. But the thing you can't count on is the internet being stable or your access being stable. So I highly recommend grabbing the PDF full report and the data book. So let's open up the data book. The data book has downloaded itself onto my computer, and my computer is set up to read that file format as Excel. Let's drag it over into your window. And this data book is made up of multiple worksheets, as you see at the bottom. Each worksheet represents a question that was asked a group of internet users who are between the ages of 18 and 25. It tells us that the fieldwork was done in 2020. And this, even though the narrative reports are great to help get you up to speed, this is really where the richness of Mintel comes to life, because this helps you see the actual data, and data where they've started to cross-tabulate things. So if we look at question 4, how often have you gone to restaurants for each of the following meals or times in the past 3 months by demographics? It corresponds to a worksheet at the bottom, and I can just click right on, and it will take me to that worksheet. At the top, it will tell me what the question was that the individuals were asked, and in this case, the question is, how often have you gone to restaurants for each of the following meals or times of days in the past 3 months? Along the left hand, we see that we get the demographics by age and income, area, what is your child status in the household, gender, etc. So we have quite a few different demographics. And then they are being cross-tabulated with the answer. How often do you go to restaurants? I go a few times a week. Everybody says 17%. Let's see which one of these is going the most a few times a week. It looks like males, Hispanic males. Audit gender, also that. Males more than females. And you can see here, you can start to parse out urban individuals more so than rural. Though, you could assume that's for another reason, right? Maybe access to restaurants potentially, or distance. If you live in a rural area, it might be an hour to get to a town center or a village center. So this is really, really rich with the different things you can start to understand about a particular demographic. And then the report is this information in a narrative format. ProQuest is a great tool for doing news research. Now you might be researching a specific company, an industry, trends in a market, a product, a service, or almost anything. This is a reflection of news that is coming out of daily newspapers, weekly magazines, academic journals, and there are also a lot of press releases in here for market research reports and other information. The key that I think is important in here is the news that's coming out of the newspapers and the weekly or monthly magazines. Some of these magazines might be what are called trade journals, and these are journals or magazines that are geared to a specific industry. So as a librarian, I might be interested in the trade journal, the library journal, or there's one called America's Libraries, or American Library. It's called American Library, and it tells me who are the major players, what are the latest trends, what are some of the new products supporting librarianship. Imagine that type of a magazine for almost any industry. We don't have all the trade journals or trade magazines licensed to ProQuest, but there are quite a few. And you'll also want to just go out on the web to find if some of the trade journals for the particular industry that you're interested in are available. I'm going to show you now some of the best techniques for searching in ProQuest. What you're looking at right now is the basic search screen. So all you're getting is a single search box. So this is similar to Google. Now, this product is more advanced than Google. And one of the things you want to look for is the advanced search button. So the reason it's more advanced than a Google search when you're searching for news is because it's taking the parts of an article and it's indexing them, and it's allowing you to search those indexed fields. The indexed fields that become important for the type of news searching that you're doing are the publication title, when you know a specific publication, newspaper, trade journal, is full text in here that you want to find. The document text field is helpful. This is everything in the document, and I will show you how to use that with what's called proximity searching. And the company field. So if an article is mainly about Netflix and not just mentioning Netflix offhanded, the company organization field will help you find that article. You do have to be careful. The indexing takes time to get put into the product, so sometimes the indexing won't pull up articles that are immediately that are not immediately available. Sometimes it won't pick up articles that are brand new. Okay, so let's take a look at this publication title field. Well, one of the other reasons I really love ProQuest for searching is the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times are in here in full text. So I can say I only want to search right now the Wall Street Journal. And why might I do that? Well, I know the Wall Street Journal covers business news. It covers the big players across industries. And I might want to just go slowly into a search instead of getting overwhelmed by hundreds of thousands of articles. I can limit my dates right here with this publication date field on the bottom, but I will show you how to do that on the next screen. So in this example, I want to find anything that mentions Netflix, because I'm interested in the country. I'm interested, in the company. Netflix, I'm interested in video streaming. So one trick, if you are interested in finding industry articles, is to load your search with multiple players in that industry. So if I load this up with Hulu, Netflix, and D+, and let's see, what's one more? HBO Max. Now notice what I did with the connectors, the AND connectors. They're in uppercase. This product really wants the AND connectors to be in uppercase. Now I also want you to notice, well, is it always called D+? No, sometimes it's called Disney+. So I'm going to show you quotation marks for the phrase Disney+, and parentheses that help me search for D+ or Disney+, because I can't anticipate exactly how the writer of the article is calling this particular company. So now I'm hoping to find an article that mentions all of these companies, and the reason I'm hoping to do that is I bet then that article is about this industry. Again, I'm going to leave my dates open, run the search, and if I get 0 or only a few, I'm going to start to peel some of these out of my search. But first, I might take a look to see what I have found. So I'm getting guides for the best streaming service for you. So this is like an advice article, not an industry reflection article. Choosing the right streaming service for you. Now notice this. These dates, April 14th, April 13th, are so close. This is actually the same article. One was in the print edition of the Wall Street Journal, and one was in the online edition. So now I'm going to take out one of these companies, and I'm going to take out HBO Max. This is one of the newer video streaming services. And now I'm going to rerun the search to see if I get more articles. And I went from 2 articles up to 323. Now, some of these articles are still going to be about what's good to watch on a service, but some are also going to be reflections on the industry. Now, I promised I was going to show you how to sort by date. Now, I could sort and see the most recent articles first by using this drop-down button under Sorted By. I can also keep scrolling down, and I can limit my publication dates to specific ranges I determine or pre-made ranges. So I'm going to say, I just want to know what's been going on in this area for the last 12 months that have mentioned all 3 of these services. And I've gone from the 300s down to 38. Certainly a lot easier to work with this than 300 articles. And now what I do is I start to look at the titles of the articles to decide which ones might be relevant. And you can see we're getting a lot of what to watch, the best streaming service for you. So you're going to have to go through these to determine which ones might be reflections on the industry itself. Now let's go back to the search, and I can modify my search by hitting the Modify Search button. So it took me back to the basic search, and what it did is it's a basic search screen, but it's using advanced search features. PUB is shorthand for publication title. I want to go back to the advanced search screen. I'm going to take out the names of the companies. I'm going to take out the Wall Street Journal. And now I'm going to try a different search. I'm going to change my drop-down fields to anywhere. This is equivalent to document text. And I'm going to say, I need to find the phrase, let's call it streaming service. Notice those quotation marks. And I'm going to show you what is called a proximity search. So streaming service, in quotation marks, I want to find it within 5 words of the word forecast. So the structure of N/5 means near 5 words of each other. It's the same idea. The N, think of it also as within. I want to find streaming service within 5 words of forecast. And I'm going to search anywhere. And this time I am going to play around with this, and I'm going to limit to the last 12 months using this drop down here. And I'm going to hit search. There are many different ways to search within this product. You can use the pre-made search fields. You can use text searches using proximity. You can just freeform look for words. And now it's sorting them in relevance order. It thinks number 1 is more relevant to me than number 3, which might be true. And it's not, I didn't limit just to the Wall Street Journal, so I'm looking at the Financial Times, I'm looking at a Dow Jones Institutional News Service, some investment research blog, etc. So I have found more information. I'm not seeing anything that is a trade journal. I might expect a trade journal for TV or streaming to include the word video or TV. I can browse all the publication names that I found here on the left-hand side to see if I come up with any trade journals that jump out at me, and in this case they don't. And some of these may or may not be relative to the way I'm thinking it. So this is about Disney forecasting tripling of new subscribers for their streaming service from December 11th. I'm just going to open this one up so that you can see now how you get these articles out of here. When you open the article up, you can save it as a PDF. You can email it to yourself. You could print it physically or print to PDF. I recommend that you email articles to yourself. So the first thing I do is I copy the article title. I open up the email function. So you can email the article to yourself. Now, I had grabbed the title, so I'm going to pop that into the subject field. I am going to ask it to include bibliographic citations and pick the citation style you're working with. So I'm going to pretend for the moment that I'm working with APA 6th edition. Pop in your email address. It does not have to be your RIT email. You could send this to your Gmail account or another email account. Don't bother to give it your full name unless you're sending it to somebody else, but it does want something in that field. And then hit continue. I like to keep my email open to make sure I've sent it to myself and I haven't mistyped my address. On the right-hand side, it's going to recommend, hey, we saw that you searched for this. Are you interested in these? Sometimes these are on point. Sometimes they are not. Let's go back to advanced search. You can play around with the proximity. When I get nothing, I start to broaden the number. I also change the words. Market share, market, trends, forecast. These are all good options depending on what you're looking for. Don't search for something for more than 20 minutes. Take a break, shoot me an email. You could take a screenshot of what your search structure was, and I can give you some feedback because it does take time to get used to searching within this particular product. But it is very powerful. It has a lot of immediate full text. Anything that's not immediately available in full text, you always have access to RIT's Interlibrary Loan Service, which is located on the library homepage under Services, Borrow from Other Locations, and this Interlibrary Loan link right here. It's free. It can take a couple days to get something from another library, especially if it needs to be scanned, but this opens up your world. ProQuest helps you discover things that are out there, and then Interlibrary Loan helps you get the full text when we're allowed to get it from another library. In looking at your industry, you may want to look at some SWOT analysis for individual companies, and IBISWorld also provides SWOT for industries. I've already gone over IBISWorld, so I'll let you go back to that section to see where the SWOT was. This will go over the resources that you also have access to, including business insights, how to get to company profiles in Business Source Elite, and in Passport. Now, these are pre-made SWOTs, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and you need to be aware that they are stuck in time. And if a professor does ask you to do a SWOT, you're not just going to hand over one that you found that was done. You're going to do your own original analysis that might include some of the analysis found in a pre-made SWOT, but will also include information that you found in your industry reports, in your company reports, and in news about the industry. In Business Insights Essentials, to get to the SWOTs, open up the product, hover over companies, and choose SWOT reports. You can search within the results using this box on the left-hand side. So if I go in and I want to see if they're providing access to a Starbucks SWOT, and not every company gets a SWOT analysis. Here's a Starbucks SWOT. First thing you're going to want to notice is the date. How old is it? And this is actually kind of current. So this is post-COVID, June 1st, 2020. It is in PDF format. Open it up, and you will have access to the PDF to download it. So it is from a company called Global Data. It's offering a financial and strategic analysis review. And there is the SWOT box. And then you also want to look in any one that you get is to see if they also have some narrative about what's going on. And in this case, as we went down to page 3, we're getting slight narrative as to what's going on. It is also possible it's just for the individual stock price, or it's just for another aspect that this analyst was interested in. So that's Business Insights Essentials to get that SWOT. Back to the LibGuide. If you go into Business Source Premier, this subscription will end in December of 2020, and it will revert back to Business Source Elite. You're going to go into here and you're going to click on Company Profiles. And you can see here there are, in alphabetical order, a list of different SWOT of different market reports, company reports that are available. You're going to search for your company name. You'll have to be careful. Right now this is stuck in alphabetical searching. You can also change it to match any words. This will vary depending on your company name. And there is the Starbucks Market Line Report. This is more than just a SWOT analysis. And what you're going to do, you're going to go into the table of contents for your company and look for where it says SWOT analysis. Not every company gets a SWOT analysis. And it takes us down and gives us both the box and the narrative. You want to be careful in this report. I have to go back to the cover. The date is buried right here. So where the Business Insights Essentials SWOT was in June of this year, this is January of this year. So I would expect the information in these two to be different, but they can still help inform you about understanding the company. Back to the info guide. I'm going to jump to Nexus Uni. Once in Nexus Uni, you're going to start with the Advanced Search button on the left. Choose Company and Financial. Choose Company Profiles. In the first field, pull the field down and type in your company name. In the second field, leave the field at All Fields and type in SWOT. You may also want to change your date ranges. So maybe you want to say anything that is after, let's say, January 1st of 2019. And hit search. And I find I get one SWOT. It's very current, July 30th, 2020. It's inside global data. And this probably starts to look familiar. I almost think this was the same company that was offering, it is the one in Business Insights Essentials. But in Nexus Uni, they're offering it just as text. And it's more current than the one that was in Business Insights. Let's go back to the info guide. Passport. Passport doesn't have a specific SWOT available to you, but for consumer market research companies like a Starbucks, companies that are selling items to consumers for consumption, you will find company reports. You're going to go up here on the top left and click on companies. Type in your company name. And before you hit search, let the tool tell you if they have a report. And they do. Starbucks. I'm going to hit enter now. I actually don't have to hit enter now. It's bringing up the Starbucks report. They don't have local companies. They only have the global Starbucks. And on the left here, we have the table of contents for this report. And you get access to a download button. So if you click on the download button, you can download the document as a PDF. You can also grab it as a PowerPoint. Let's open up the PDF. So they don't have anything in here that is specifically called SWOT, but they do have different information in here, like competitive positioning, key findings that can help you start to understand some of the facts that might help you come to a conclusion within your SWOT analysis. Information on their strategy, where they're doing licensing partnerships. So this might be opportunities. So you have to read this to make some decisions about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Hoover's is a tool that you'll use to get company information. You can also browse news, and you can also find in here some business-to-business market research reports. To do a simple search, if you already know the name of your company, go to the top company search field and type in the name of your company. If Hoover's has it in here, it will bring the company up, but it will also bring up any other company with that name. Now in this case, Netflix, I'm looking at the largest Netflix, and this is sorting in order of revenues. So if for some reason I wanted their company that's located in Amsterdam, I could choose that, but I will also probably find that link to the core headquarters record. A Hoover's entry for a company gives you basics up at the top, and one of the things that's helpful here is the company type. This will tell you if a company is public, private, a subsidiary, and if it's a child company, you will also see the headquarters company. That's usually located here around where this traded symbol is located. Along the left-hand side is where you get your navigation to various parts. Depending on how much information is available in Hoover's or what type of company, the access to different elements in the navigation will appear and disappear. So if Netflix was a privately held company, there would be no financials section for us to look at because they're not releasing financials publicly. Basically, the majority of information within Hoover's is available somewhere else. Hoover's is just drawing it all into itself. You have to navigate through this. You're not necessarily able to download all of the information that is in here. Now let's go back to the home page. So in addition to searching for a specific company, you can also build a company list. Build a company list allows you to take different criteria, such as company size, by number of employees, or by revenue, or you could search by industry. And they're going to give you a list of industries that you can search. You can search by name or by code. So I'm going to search for video, and it will start to fill in based on an older structure the industries that contain the word video. Now, probably what I should have done in the previous example of Netflix is look to see how they were classifying them. So I'm just going to choose motion picture and video industries. So I've added that to my criteria, and my top level number has dropped. Now I might add another identifier like geographic location, and I might say, well, I only want things that are in New York State. And my number drops even more to 19,000. I'm just going to choose to view the results list just to give you an idea of what's going on here. And these are sorting right now by number of employees. So Vivendi Universal in New York City has the largest number of employees, so it's coming up to the top of the list. I could sort these in different ways by assets, by company name, by revenue, and then I could start to take a look at each one of these companies. This is a great way to find competitors, to find potential customers, but you are guessing a little bit by the industry classifications that Hoover's is offering. Hoover's might misunderstand what a company does in relation to how you understand what a particular company does. The other element that Hoover's is good for some markets, is market research. So you go down here to the bottom right hand side and choose Analyze Markets to see if they have a market research report for the industry that you're interested in. And the way that you do that is you choose under Research and Reports, report type, change it to Market Research Report. And then for brokerage house, there's really only two companies that are showing up in here. One is Freedonia, so you can choose that. And the other is MarketLine. Now, at the moment, I'm not going to limit to title or report text or date range. I'm just going to view the results so you get an idea of what's in here. There are international reports in here, and they are a combination of very large business to business, or I should say very broad business to business, and there are individual there are individual countries represented in here. So I could go back actually, or I could add additional criteria, and in this case I am going to add to the title, I'm going to add the word United States, because you saw that there were country names coming up in the titles. And see what it did? It changed it to the name of the industry with United States. And they're sorting right now, newest first. And I've got metals, food processing, bottled water, home and garden pesticide. You can try searching in the title for the name of something. It's a little easier to browse to get an idea of what's in here, because there's only a limited number of reports that are in here for market research. So Hoover's is going to give you access to specific company entries. You'll be able to build lists of companies, and you'll be able to look at analyzing markets. Thank you for watching this library instruction video. I hope you found it helpful. It is possible you still have outstanding questions about how to use a resource or where to look for a particular type of piece of information, and that's why you can reach out to me by chat, email, or by making an appointment on our LibCal system. All that information is available to you on the end slide and within the information of this YouTube video. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I am here to help you, and that's my job. Okay. Happy researching.